The Fourth and Goal Podcast.
That's all it is. But there's a lot of airspace to cover for Milroe. Still looking. Firing. Near corner. It's caught! Touchdown, Alabama!
Strebler dials it up. End zone! Touchdown!
They're going to snap it, and it's Trey Burton who throws caught. Foles! Touchdown!
There ain't no podcast like the Fourth and Goal Podcast. Like, hit that subscribe button and share.
And welcome to the Fourth and Goal Podcast. Noah Drury alongside Andrew Burns and Justin from his from his car.
Fourth and Goal is mobile, baby.
Yeah. Fourth and Goal, always mobile. Guys, how has the start of the week been so far?
It's been good, man. It's a beautiful day. I'm sitting outside with my windows rolled down in my car, just ripping ass and fucking shit in my pants and letting it fucking go in the wind, baby.
Andrew, how has it been for you?
I've finally mostly gotten over the depression that I encountered on Saturday. On the live. I spent some time in Ann Arbor doing some research and reconnaissance. I don't know. We'll see.
He is applying to be the next Connor Stallions for you guys that don't know at home.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to tell anyone. I have an NDA signed.
Yeah. Okay. Well, guess I'll have to cut that.
You might have just gotten me a lawsuit with Coach Moore.
Yeah, I don't care because my team total hit on Saturday, and that's all I needed. I'm just kidding. I'm obviously not very happy about what happened, but let's get into the college football slate of things. Colorado beating Cincinnati 34-23. I was really impressed with Colorado. They were able to run the ball. Shedeur played very well in this game, had over 10 yards per attempt with 2 touchdowns. Travis Hunter got it done on both sides. And Colorado is just a physical football team as of late, and they've been able to out-dominate and out-physical teams in the Big 12. Guys, what did you get? How much eyes did you get on this game?
I did not get a ton of eyes on it. I went and watched a little bit on it post-game, Sunday and Monday. I was kind of too depressed to go and watch anything after my heart got ripped out Saturday night. So
yeah, there's going to be video highlights of that to come too.
I know there is.
And we want to thank you guys, by the way, for tuning in on Saturday. It was a really good time, and I think we want to do it again. So I guess let us know, Andrew, this would be a really good social media post. What live show or what game do they want us to do a live show of next?
Yeah, I will get some posts out for that. But yeah, Cincy, Colorado, both these teams, honestly, they've both been a surprise to me this year, just with how I thought Cincy was going to be dead in the water.
Oh, Andrew is gone.
Speaking of dead in the water.
Speaking of dead on the surface.
Andrew,
Justin.
you can bounce now. I'll take over from here. It was a good game. He's back.
What happened?
I tried to jump over to ESPN and I clicked the X.
I was gonna say,
yeah, you said dead in the water and then disappeared. But no, like you said, Noah, Colorado's been rolling, man. That defense of Colorado has been a huge improvement this year, and I think it's safe to say that Travis Hunter is kind of locking up the Heisman for me. I know Genty's having a good year, but Travis Hunter's doing things that we haven't seen since Charles Woodson, and he's doing them at a higher level than Woodson did. I think he's making his case for the Heisman Trophy winner.
Basically, everything I was going to say, Justin just covered right there.
Because I was reading your mind, dude.
Yeah, pretty much. It's the fart smells getting to your brain and making you
dude, it's like fresh aroma. It just
he's pheromone maxing in his car right now, guys.
Yeah, I think the most impressive thing about this Colorado team is the ability to cover downfield.
Mm-hmm.
You stop the run, and their pass rush, I will say, is not great, but like it's enough to get the job done. You know, Like they're forcing enough pressure, and especially in this game against Sorsby, where it's Cincinnati's got to get a quick read off and got to make a throw in tight windows. This is not the Colorado team last year that quarterbacks had 5-6 seconds in the pocket to make it to their second and third read. Quarterbacks got to get the ball out quicker, and the coverage is tighter as well. So I mean, is Colorado a college football playoff contender? Like, this is a legitimate question we do have to ask. Because if they win the Big 12, I mean, they're in.
They have to. For me, they have to win the Big 12. I don't think. I was telling you guys over the weekend. I think there's top 6 teams, and then another cut, and then there's 20 other teams.
Yeah, I think there's a top 4 teams, to be honest, and I think the rest are kind of
at large.
Yeah,
and I think Colorado is like right on that fringe of being in that second tier. God, those pretzels are trying to kill me.
Well, let's see. They lost to who? Kansas State, and they lost to
Nebraska.
So you got one conference loss.
And Nebraska
and Kansas State
worse and worse.
Yeah, I would, but that team's not the same that it was in week 2.
Yeah, I don't have Colorado's schedule in front of me, so I don't know if they play BYU.
They do. I don't think for you. I don't think they don't play.
They got Texas Tech, Utah, Kansas, and Oklahoma State. They have 4 very winnable games.
I mean, Texas Tech on the road can be a little bit shaky, but I think those last 3 games are pretty winnable.
Yeah, at Kansas, I'm not really afraid about. Utah's
dead.
Even with Cam Rising, they look shitty.
I mean, They just lost to Houston.
So hosting Oklahoma State.
You're a Colorado fan, then you're going to be rooting for BYU to beat Kansas State.
Right. Yeah. And Kansas State, look, dude, they're a good football team too, and they only lost to 3 by 3. It's not like, and Kansas State's a quality top 20 team, in my opinion.
Colorado should have won that game too.
Yeah, they should have. So
yeah, I mean, and they're taking care of business in all their other games, minus North Dakota State, which honestly I wasn't surprised by that. They probably weren't expecting it.
Ever since that Baylor game where they made a massive comeback and kind of had like a heroic rise from Travis and Shedeur at the end of that game, I mean, they've been really good and have been rolling. I mean, that UCF game has really turned the table for this Colorado team.
It has. They proved to the world that they can play tough, that they're not just a bunch of overpaid 19, 20-year-olds that just show up on game day, which is what I expected them to be.
I wonder what top job Deion take. Does Deion take the Florida job? Because I don't think he's staying at Colorado after this year.
I think he probably stays one more year. Unless...
Have you looked at the amount of attention they're paying?
You muted yourself there, guy.
Yeah, I've definitely paid attention to the amount of attention that they're giving Colorado. And you're right, Noah, if they win out and they win 10 or so games this year, he could get a job. And I mean, dare we say his alma mater, where Mike Norvell is absolutely stinking up the fucking joint in Tallahassee.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think before this weekend, I was thinking it was one of the Florida spots, probably Florida State, or maybe he goes and dons a winged helmet after Moore would have gotten fired if State rolled into Ann Arbor.
I don't think Moore's getting fired after 1 year, though.
No, have you been hearing all the shit that the fan
they're not. It's the same thing that Alabama fans say about Kalen DeBoer. He's not getting fired after 1 year. That's just
no. But Kalen DeBoer wasn't about to go on pace for 5-7.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're not going. They're going to win 6 games at least. They're going to make a bowl game. I mean, look, if we want to get over into the Michigan side of things, I mean, I didn't know we were talking about Michigan tonight.
I was simply saying that Michigan was a thought in my brain as a coaching job for Prime.
I don't think so.
If Saturday didn't go well,
no, that would never happen at Michigan. I don't. It's nothing against Deion. I just don't see the Board of Regents in Ann Arbor ever approving that.
I would think he would go to Michigan State before Michigan. I'll say that.
I mean, they hired Harbaugh, and Harbaugh's kind of a nutcase too. So
yeah, but Harbaugh went there.
Yeah, I mean, he's a Michigan guy.
He's a Michigan guy. Deion, I don't think wants to do anything with Michigan. Deion will be an SEC coach in the next 5 years.
Deion's tailor-made for Florida State, dude.
I don't think they're going to fire Norvell after this year, though. That's just my.
I mean,
read.
Dude, if they don't if they don't win another game, like
they have to.
I mean, I've seen crazier shit happen, dude. I watched Milwaukee Bucks fire their coach that was 32-19 last year, mid-season.
Yeah,
This is a good point. This is a great point.
NBA is a lot more cutthroat in terms of coaching than it is like college football. You have to have a little bit more leeway to build a team.
Not really. Like,
I mean, at a blue blood school, though, I mean, I'd consider Florida State kind of a blue blood school.
I wouldn't, to be honest.
They're like that tier below. They're in that same.
Like they're the same thing to me as like Michigan State.
I mean,
maybe a little bit better. Like I'm just saying though, they're a window program. They haven't been consistently good the last 10 years.
Neither's a lot of blue bloods.
No, but they're not Clemson, they're not Georgia,
Would you consider Tennessee a blue blood school?
No, but I also don't I wouldn't really consider Tennessee a blue blood school. I mean, they've only been
LSU.
good what? LSU, yeah, I would say, but LSU's had more relative success than FSU.
They've had 1 year.
That's not necessarily true.
I
think they're more consistent than FSU with like Taggart and the.
I still consider FSU a blue blood because I'm sure if you walk down the halls of their facility, there is a pretty large wall of guys that they put in the NFL.
Okay, this is a really good question. Is Notre Dame a blue blood to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess that's a good point that Justin brings up. The players they put in the NFL. You want to just talk about that? Go look at like Stanford and the University of Chicago and fucking Army and.
No, I mean Stanford hasn't done it over a long period of time. They had a nice run with Harbaugh and then David Shaw a little bit, but
I'm talking like 50, 60 years ago.
Florida State, I mean, has been, for generations has been a national championship contender. I mean, they're down right now, but they won.
Well, I'm just saying, but like but like post Jameis Winston to last year, like they've only been successful like a couple seasons. Like they were okay, they were solid with Dalvin Cook, but like other than that, they haven't really been that good.
Hang on.
I mean, I'm just looking at a full body of work, you know.
Yeah.
Also, I got like 15 years on both of you, so I remember the Anquan Bolden days. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
They've had.
I guess Noah, you got a point. From 2017 to 2022, their best season was 7-6.
Yeah, like they haven't been. I get it. Like historically, yeah, they're good, but like I wouldn't consider them a blue blood as of late.
I mean, I
could
see
a 6-year window in the 21st century.
I could see what would entice a coach to want to go there.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of potential, and they can. I don't think once a team can be a blue blood and a team can go away from being a blue blood. That's just kind of how I look at it.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but I don't know. It's just like it's the brand, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's kind of like brands, you know.
Yeah, like Michigan, like in the 2010s, they weren't a blue blood, but they're still a big brand.
Brand, right?
Yeah, I totally get it from that point.
I guess also until 1977, they didn't have a 10-win season, and they had 2 more until
like
87.
that's what I'm saying though. Like Florida State's a window program, not a like contender. I mean, not a threat to contend every single year.
Most programs are though.
Like and that's I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
You looked at Miami, then it kind of passed the torch in the mid 2000s to USC. And then in the 2010s, Alabama kind of took over. Clemson took over for a minute. Texas was there, you know what I mean, for a minute in the mid 2000s. Like the torch has been passed many a times. Then Florida State started to come back a little bit. You know what I mean? It's what it is. Georgia.
Right, but
Georgia's been on that run.
but like they're not a threat to contend every year, like an Ohio State, like an Alabama, like a Georgia, like a Clemson. Like they're not in that echelon of teams. Is what I'm
I
saying.
mean, Clemson hasn't really been that in a few years either.
Yeah, they really haven't, but they're always rated high, really preseason.
They've had some bad luck with quarterbacks, but we were
Yeah.
getting way off the rails, boys.
Yeah, we are 15 minutes in. I've talked about one game.
We're
Right.
ranting. It's okay. People expect that from us at this point.
Yeah.
Right.
BYU goes into the bounce house and takes care of business. This is the first game where like BYU hasn't really relied on something fluky like turnovers, like good field position. Like they just got it done against UCF, a team that they were not favored against. And I think they're kind of proving the doubters wrong. I think BYU's they were number 9 for me in my 4th and goal poll. Like I think this is a good football team that they might be able. I don't think they're necessarily a national championship contender, but they might be able to catch a team for a game or two in the playoff.
Yeah, I agree. I kind of thought the line was a little fishy there anyway. It kind of seemed like,
I think they rated their performance over Iowa State because Ja'Cory Brown did play well in that game, but
right. But I mean, it was kind of a way for Vegas to lure people in and kind of throw them a little okey doke at the end there, because I didn't think there was ever a doubt that UCF was going to be able to compete with BYU. And the thing with BYU is they don't get their respect because they're not a flashy team. They don't have all the 5-star recruits. They don't have Cam Ward. They don't have Shedeur Sanders. You know what I mean? They kind of just get it done and as a team way, in a team way. And they just go out there and they kick your ass for 4 quarters. And they're probably going to win the Big 12 and probably still get no respect.
They're going to have to beat someone in the playoff to like be like considered like, oh, this team was actually really good.
I mean, they probably will, but they're probably going to run into a top 4 team, top 5, 6 team.
Well, no, they'll probably get a bye if they win the Big 12.
No, yeah, the first 4, the 4
unless Boise State somehow magically is above the Big 12 champ. Well, I think even if BYU loses in the Big 12 championship, they're still going to make the playoff.
Yeah,
they'll probably be up there.
Let me say that they should. We never know with the college football playoff committee, but
well, you got to figure there's probably going to be 4 or 5. There could be 3 to probably a few at larges from the Big 10 and probably a few at larges from the SEC.
I think, yeah. I guess we'll have to, because November gets wicked, so it's gonna be we're gonna see teams fall off the face of the earth, and then we're gonna see teams, have a meteoric rise as in late into the season. So
yeah.
Quickly touch on this game because we talked about it for 3 hours on Saturday. But any post game, taking a couple of days, looking back at some stuff, anything to say about this Michigan State-Michigan game?
Go ahead, Andrew. You've had a few days to weep in your sorrows. Go ahead.
All right. I'm not going to get into a rant. I've gotten my rants out to my friends, so I don't need to go and blast my opinions on the internet. I think basically what this game came down to was how well can you finish a drive? And Michigan State proved they could not finish a drive when it came down to money time. Inside the 20s, they were moving the ball at will. Outside the 20s, no. Outside the 20s, drive stalled, missed field goals. Everything that could go wrong for Michigan State went wrong. And Michigan was able to be clutch. They scored. They were just they were the tougher team. They deserved to win that game. It comes down to that for me, just the ability to finish a drive.
I mean, there's only 1 turnover in that game. I mean, the turnover is the difference right there. Michigan played red zone roulette and did a really good job. So,
yeah. I mean, like you said, we shouldn't talk about this one for too long. I kind of threw it in there because I just wanted to see what Andrew had to say a few days later after I dropped video on him tomorrow. But
what do you have to say, Justin?
Looking back at it, I mean, Michigan did what they had to do. They took Marsh out of the game, and they kind of made the passing game obsolete. In return, it kind of opened up some holes and opened up the run game for Michigan State. But I feel like that, looking back now, I feel like that was part of the plan, and it worked. I mean, Marsh didn't really hit big.
He
got
had
that
one. He had
touchdown.
that
Got
touchdown
that
was
touchdown at
nasty.
the end, but they kind of took Michigan State's receivers away for most of the game. Obviously, with the pressure as well, tough with Michigan State's offensive line and the state that's in against a pretty good defensive line. And that was my impressions, looking back on it and talking to a buddy of mine who's a Michigan State fan, and he wanted to know why they didn't throw the ball more and why they didn't get the ball to Marsh more. I said, I just think that was a part of the game plan, was
Teams aren't going to be
taking him out of it.
Teams other than Oregon, in my opinion, in the Big Ten, and at Penn State, they're not going to be able to throw the ball over Michigan just because of the pressure that Michigan generates. Like, you can't throw the ball 35 plus times against this Michigan team and expect to win. I mean, this Michigan D line is going to get pressure all the time, and they will blitz too and keep getting pressure.
I will say one question I have about that game is, and I told Justin before you showed up to the live stream, a big part of MSU's game plan needed to be the Aiden Childs keeper.
Yeah.
Get him out in the open, use him as a superior athlete to like a linebacker or defensive lineman. And that could have opened up potentially the passing play, making Michigan sit on their heels in the linebacking on the second level a little bit more.
I don't think Martindale cares, to be quite honest with you.
Well, no, he keeps blitzing. Cool. Marsh 10 yards, not Marsh, sorry. Childs 10 yards, Childs 15 yards, Childs 10 yards. But we didn't see a single QB keeper the entire game.
I think they hit on one or two.
Yeah, but
they weren't designed keepers they've been calling.
It should have been like a Jalen Milroe, get 5 to 10 like true design runs.
Exactly. He didn't really have one. He had a couple bootlegs that he ran out for, but it was never like we've seen against Iowa and what we've seen the last several weeks of just run, use your athleticism.
Yeah, I haven't really diagnosed Michigan State's offense that much. But I do think it would be beneficial to kind of do a little bit more of that RPO game for them.
Yeah, and we've seen them have success with it. They just, for some reason, didn't call it against Michigan. It's maybe they didn't think they'd be able to get the gaps open on pass blocking.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Like I said all season, Michigan always has a chance because their fucking front seven is amazing. It's just how it is. They'll always have a chance in a game just because of how much they can shit wreck up front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was impressed with MSU's pass blocking a little bit just because of how good that front seven is.
They still got.
You were able to buy him a little time. I was expecting no time. They bought him a little time.
Yeah. Michigan's got 3 guys before we move on. Yeah, they got 3 guys that are going to be drafted in the first 3 rounds, no doubt, this year.
Yeah.
All right, Penn State. Bo Pribula comes into the game and kind of takes this game away for Penn State against Wisconsin after Aller goes down with an injury. I mean, I know Drew Aller is probably the better player, but I was very impressed by Pribula's play when I went back and watched this game. Tell me what you guys think.
Give me 1 second. Go ahead, Justin.
Oh, yeah, no, I agree. I thought the game was a lot closer when Aller was in the game. Obviously, it's a different look, a different style of player coming off the bench. I picked Wisconsin to win this game. I thought at home.
None of us hit our upset picks of the week.
Yeah,
once again.
Did. But I thought the way that Wisconsin's defense had been playing, and it was tight for a long time, and then he came off the bench and he gave him a spark, and they kind of pulled away a little bit, man. And I'm just kind of I'm up in the air on this Penn State team, but I'm kind of starting to think, man, everybody gets on James Franklin and they talk shit about Franklin, but things don't have to last forever. I mean, they could be Wisconsin. It could be Penn State's year. I mean, they're showing some things, man. We know about Abdul Carter, and we know about the guys they got on defense and the running backs, and if they can continue to get consistent quarterback play, man, they're going to be tough for anybody to beat, especially as wide open as college football is this year.
The James Franklin thing. Has James Franklin really lost to a team that he's actually been better than? Ohio State and Michigan, those years have been better than Penn State. Like they might
He's
say
lost to Michigan State a couple times.
Yeah, but I mean that 2021 Michigan State team was pretty good.
He's crapped the bed.
2019, I think 2017 as well.
My pushback.
I want to say he's got a bad bowl record too.
Well, bowl games haven't mattered since like what 2018.
I mean, he got absolutely filleted by Lane Kiffin last year.
2013 was the last bowl game.
But my thing is that is he really that overrated as like a head coach? Like he kind of like Penn State is not like a perennial, go to win a natty every year. Like I mean, they're a good A- B+ football program.
I think.
But the recruits he brings in, he is overrated.
Andrew kind of just hit what I was gonna say. Like, if you look at Penn State's recruiting classes year in and year out, yeah, he should be competing, and he's had multiple years had better recruiting classes than Penn State or than Michigan.
Yeah,
and lost to Michigan. Like, has not been able to beat Michigan.
I think the coordinator hires this year though are hits for Penn State with both Allen and Koldenicki.
Correct me if I'm wrong. It's Allen. He was Indiana's head coach.
Yep, he was, and now he's the DC at Penn State.
Talk about a flip of the script from being terrible at Indiana, just being like, wait, I know how to call a defense.
I know Signetti's doing great, but like typically it's really hard to win at Indiana.
I thought Allen had some good years there.
That COVID year he had a good year. They had a couple. I think they made a bowl game a couple of times, but like Indiana's only had 6 winning seasons in the past 30 years before this season. It's not like Indiana's like, it's not like
That's
Indiana.
A crazy stat.
It's not like Indiana is like this big bad powerhouse in the Big Ten. No. Like it's typically a take the checks, take the losses type team.
Newsflash with Indiana: if they lose a game, it's not a matter of whether they should or should be. I think they get left out of the playoffs.
Oh, they 100% do. But
you know what? It will depend how they play against Ohio State. I think that would be a really big factor for the playoff committee because if they only lose by like 7 or 10 points but keep it competitive, they're going to think that they should be in. If they lose by like 28, it'll be a lot different. But I don't know if Ohio State's capable of scoring 28 points, which is a great segue into what happened in this game between Ohio State and Nebraska.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say Ohio State's on their third left tackle. Their offensive line has just looked completely depleted. They got owned. Nebraska is the more physical team in this game. I think that's not safe to say. And Dylan Raiola has just kind of hit a freshman wall. And I think if there was another year of experience under his belt, this game would have been Nebraska's.
I do think this was a very nice bounce back from Nebraska after cutscene Indiana last week. Their defense actually rolling into Columbus looked really good. They gave Howard some fits. They were getting after him most of the game.
I think Howard still played. Like, I know he threw a pick, but like I thought he actually played relatively well.
He did, but he didn't ever look overly comfortable in the pocket.
Yeah, he did roll out. He had to roll out a few times and make throws.
It was kind of like he kind of knew that Nebraska was sending a run. I want to look and see how often they were blitzing because it felt like they were blitzing a lot.
They blitzed a ton in that game, which I mean, like Smith, like that's if Ohio State misses one or two of their shot plays, dude, like this is a completely different game.
Yeah, and I think as the season's gone on, I've been less and less impressed with Ohio State. Granted, it may be just that left tackle injury, like you were talking about, just their offensive line.
But Simmons might not. I don't know what the timetable recovery is for Simmons to come back.
I don't know. As the season's gone on, they've seemed less and less impressive. Like they aren't kicking people's ass like I thought they would. I thought this was going to be the best team in the country going into the season. And
like I've said this because Howard played good. Their run game was just not a factor.
Yeah. Like Judkins was brought in to carry the rock 5 yards a carry and be an explosive back next to Trayvon Henderson. And neither of them have been impressive like we anticipated.
No, like Ohio State really other than a few plays, they did not really play good in this game.
I think Trayvon Henderson's actually been the lead back, and Judkins was the number 1 back in college football coming out last year, and they've been underwhelming, man. You wonder, is it the quarterback play? Is it the coach? I mean, are they just a soft team? Do they carry are they soft like their head coach? You know what I mean? Like,
they've been sniffing the shoe polish that he uses in his beard a little too much.
dude,
I was pretty. I'll give Ohio State some props though. Like, I know it's Nebraska, and I didn't mean to cut you off, Justin. I'm just like, they played physical on the defensive side in this game.
Mm-hmm.
No, I was just gonna say that their defense, to me, I feel like is their calling card. With all the talent that they have on offense, I think their defense is the best, the better unit.
But I think going into this season, though, that's kind of what at least I expected of this Ohio State team. But that's also partially due to the quarterback that they had.
I mean, this is what, year 3 for Jim Knowles.
Yeah,
and he's turned that defense around big time, because you guys remember how bad it was.
Oh yeah, that first.
Combs.
Well, even in his first year, Jim Knowles had like no grasp of this defense either.
They looked like Colorado the last several years, just soft as fuck.
Their kryptonite's kind of been Michigan, and Michigan's not really the Michigan that it's been.
You know what though? If Ohio State's going to trot out this offensive line against Michigan, Michigan has a chance. They have a chance.
Yeah,
dude. If Michigan State's offensive line can pick up Ohio State's D rush, Michigan's should, and if it's not going to be pretty.
I mean, it goes back to games being won and lost in the trenches. Like, yeah, you can get all those cute skill players all you want, but if you can't win games in the trenches, then what good are you?
Look at the Lions in the NFL.
You've seen Colorado last year. I mean, Shedeur Sanders running for his life.
Yeah. Indiana getting a win against Washington. They
you gotta let Andrew lead this one off.
Yeah. I will say I had Indiana ranked higher than Andrew this week.
Really?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
I go back and watch this game, and like Indiana's offense, like I thought Taven Jackson did fine, but honestly, their defense, what's the guy that got Angelo on defense? D'Angelo Pods. He got 2 pick sixes on defense. Like,
Yeah.
That's the difference right there. But having players to be able to step up, or Indiana's defense has been my biggest concern this year, and like their defense won them this football game. Getting turnovers and getting stops, like that is a sign of like when your offense is down. I know it's Washington, so like I'll take it with a little bit of grain of salt, but still being able to have those types of games. I mean, you looked at Washington last year, like Penix didn't play perfect all 12 games. That Arizona State game, he looked terrible last year, and their defense stepped up and won. So just Indiana having the capability of that, it gives me a lot higher. It gives me a lot more to think about this Indiana team rather than just being a one-trick pony on offense.
This game gave me a lot of hope, honestly. Like my anticipation has been sky high for this team all season. I've been I'm going to just say I've been cheering for this team harder than I've been cheering for MSU this year.
Yeah, no, you definitely have.
Well, it's easy when one thing's not like the other.
Yeah.
Also, someone's got to stand up for the little guy.
Is Michigan State going to do us a solid and fucking finally beat Indiana this weekend, or what?
I
don't
think so. I think Works is coming back too, which makes it like 10 times harder. So.
Indiana does not have an easy rest of their schedule. I was looking at it the other day. They got Michigan State, Michigan, I think Northwestern, then Ohio State. No, Michigan State, Michigan, Ohio State, Northwestern, I think, to finish the season.
Yeah.
No, not Northwestern, Purdue. Michigan's at home.
Is it Ann Arbor or is it in Bloomington?
No, Michigan's in Bloomington. They go to East Lansing, they go to Columbus, and then they finish the season in Bloomington with Purdue.
Yeah.
Which honestly, but Indiana.
Here's what I'll say: they go 11 because they could still make the Big Ten championship, right? They go 11-1, and they, you know what? If they go 11-1 and look good against Ohio State, they should be a college football playoff team. They're a Big Ten team. All these other Big Ten teams are playing these same teams, and they've beaten them all, right? Like, I mean, they beat. I know this is not how you should look at it, but they beat Nebraska fucking 56-7, and one of your Ohio State, the biggest brands, they're going to be ranked in the top 5. They only beat them by 4. Like,
look at UCLA. They went to LA and kicked the shit out of them. And then UCLA 2 weeks later goes to Happy Valley and only loses by 10.
Right.
Well,
Like,
nobody goes into the Rose Bowl.
Everyone goes to the Rose Bowl.
Dude, Penn State students don't. I know, sorry. UCLA students don't go to the Rose Bowl.
There's better things to do. And USC is the same way. There's just better things to do in LA than watch these two college football teams.
That was very facetious.
Yeah, I know it was. I know what you were doing there. But back to this game. I think you made the great point, Noah, just how it was the defense kept them in this game. Washington refused to go away throughout most of this game.
Yeah.
Like Indiana got their first pick six. Washington, the next drive was going back down the field. And got a field goal, I think, directly following. Indiana, Jackson was good. He was a little more inaccurate than Rourke is. But I think it was just they refused to go away, and Indiana continued to respond, even though they were down a couple players, not playing their A-plus ball. They're playing probably a B- game.
Yeah.
And they just continued.
What I'll say, I mean, looking at Washington's schedule, like they played good against Washington State to the end. Washington's a top 25 team, or Washington State's a top 25 team. 3-point loss to Rutgers, and I mean one bad showing against Iowa. But like Washington is a quality football opponent. It's not like Washington is terrible.
No, they're definitely like a 8 to 12 Big Ten school, like somewhere in that range.
Like they're mid, but like they're not terrible.
I put them right there with Michigan State. They're just both like, On one day they're gonna play really good. Next day they're gonna play like shit.
I mean, they did.
You don't know what team you're getting.
They did lose like 60 guys from a national championship team a year ago.
Yeah.
So I mean,
but those guys aren't doing too hot. Just talk to Alabama.
It's hard for anybody to overcome.
Justin, do you have anything to say about this game?
No, I'm just rooting for somebody to beat Indiana at this point. I'm kind of on the Indiana hate train. And their schedule, I mean, they avoided Penn State. They didn't play Penn State this year. They didn't get Oregon. You know what I mean? Like that Ohio State game for me tells all. If they get their ass kicked in that game and that's the only game that they lose, then I kind of got to question if they're a playoff team, especially the way Ohio State's kind of rolling right now. But we all know that can be subject to change in a heartbeat. But yeah, if they get their ass kicked against Ohio State, I kind of got to question it a little bit.
I'm so disappointed in you, Justin.
I wonder what the spread.
I've been extending the olive branch all season. It's been extended. I have permission from Indiana alums to let you guys join the bandwagon.
I haven't,
and you refuse to join the bandwagon.
I haven't. Like I've been giving Indiana their props, but I'm waiting for them to play a real top 25 team, top 15 team. You know what I mean? Like
I totally. Well, this is what we thought with Georgia last year, right? Like, I mean, Georgia didn't play anybody the whole season. Yeah. And then they go to the SEC championship, and you know what?
Georgia was kind of a known entity, though. We knew what Georgia was.
But like, what
I'm saying, blame the team for the schedule. They don't make the schedule.
You have to.
Well, like, they signed everybody in America that was riding Michigan's ass last year for not playing anybody.
You can't blame the schedule, but they're doing the same shit Michigan was doing. Indiana's doing
you, and I know, including Andrew. I mean Noah, because I was in class with him when he was saying that Michigan wasn't playing anybody last year.
No, don't include me with that, because I was calling Michigan the best team in the country as soon as they started Big Ten play. So fuck off with that.
I knew Michigan was going to be really good. Okay, I'm not going to act like I thought Michigan was like a top. It was like a bottom, like was in the 10 to 15 range. Like I knew they were a top 5 team. I was just giving you shit.
I said Michigan and Oregon were the best 2 schools in the country last year from like week 4 on.
Well,
so don't give me that shit.
We didn't know each other, but I was just going.
I know, but I'm just telling you. I was giving Michigan their flowers.
Okay.
And calling them cheaters, but I was still giving them their flowers.
I'm giving Indiana their flowers. I'm not saying that they suck. I think they're good. I just want to see how they do against the big boys.
And that's
all right. Did you say the same shit about Michigan last year then?
No, I knew what Michigan had last year. I knew what they were.
Dude, they did their Indiana to Michigan last year. See a bad team in front of you, kick their teeth in. What's the difference?
I'm not looking at Indiana's roster the way I was looking at Michigan's roster last year, even being a Michigan fan.
Dude,
not being
Indiana looks like the old Michigan State team and old Michigan State teams where there are a bunch of 3-stars that just got good.
I mean, Michigan kind of had the same mold there for a minute. I mean, Ben Herbert developed a lot of guys there that were like 3 like low 4-star guys. But yeah, I mean,
it's more important to have talent or have development, like talent development in your program than what recruits you get to an extent. Like you can't get a bunch of 0 stars and like.
And a lot of these guys, a lot of the leaders on Indiana's team are JMU guys. So they are guys that Cignetti recruited and developed that were probably 0 to 2 stars that went to JMU. And now they're at Indiana as seniors.
I like Cignetti from the standpoint of him being an old school, tough team kind of guy. Like I can respect that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they want to play tough, and Indiana has never been tough. Mm-hmm. So I mean, yeah, but I like it. Hey, I just want to see them play Ohio State. You guys ain't got to crucify me.
I'm just trying to call your
bullshit. I just wanted to present the argument. That's all.
I'm just trying to call you on your bullshit for one, and for two, my team sucks. So let me cheer for my pet team. God damn it!
I think Justin's AP voting for someone because there's a reason why they're alive.
Let me cheer for my pet team. God damn it!
I put them in my top 12. I mean, shit.
It's about time. They've been in my top 12 for fucking 4 weeks.
Sucking their fucking dick and groping their ball sack at the same time, or what? I think they're good.
They've been in my top 12 for 4 weeks.
I just want to see them fucking play somebody else that's good.
All right, I think we've
not a bunch of mid fucking Big Ten conference teams.
Yeah, we don't see that till they play Ohio State. Michigan and Michigan State are pretty ass.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about one of the biggest games from Saturday. Texas A&M. Nobody
walks into Kyle Field and survives.
Exactly.
Nobody.
I've been waiting for you to say that.
Yeah, I had a feeling someone was going to say it. Dude, they make the switch to Marcel Reed in this game, and they just never looked back, and they ended up dominating LSU to the end. In terms of LSU and their problems, I kind of wanted to start with this. LSU not being able to run the ball puts Nussmeier under way more pressure. Like Nussmeier, he played like a solid first half, but dude, in the second half, I mean, there were some picks that were super egregious, but I don't fault him for that because he's got to drop back there every single play on offense and try to make something happen. And you know what? Texas A&M's a good football team, man. I think they're a legit college football playoff contender. I honestly think they if things go the right way for them and they continue to stay healthy, this team could win a national championship. It's a hot take, but that's really what I believe. They get it done defensively. They have the playmakers on offense. They're solid enough on the offensive line. Like this team could do it.
Yeah, I agree, Noah. It was kind of a time to go for. They needed a change. Wigman's kind of been a little mid this year, a little average.
Like he had the game against Missouri, and then it's kind of been like, eh.
Yeah, and you've seen in the first half, LSU kind of had control of that game. And I agree with what you said on LSU. They have to figure out a way to run the ball. They probably won't this year, but that's going to kill them, and it obviously killed them. When you go into a tough environment like Kyle Field that nobody goes into and comes out alive.
Except Notre Dame.
And you play a defense that has legitimate guys that'll probably play in the NFL on it. You can't just throw the ball all over the yard no matter how good your quarterback is. No, and they ran into that buzzsaw. And I do think that A&M is a legitimate national championship contender. You put them on a neutral field with Indiana, they would kick Indiana's ass.
I will say that. Dude, Indiana does not have the guys in the trenches like Texas A&M does.
They don't need to.
Yes, why? You kind of do to win.
No, football. They're like the Tigers this year. They just got voodoo magic.
No.
Well, the Tigers in the World Series?
No, because the magic ran out. Because they started swinging at fucking balls and their plate just went into
what
shit.
I'm saying is like, dude, like Texas A&M's like in just terms of how they play, like it's pretty. They can do it pretty much every game. Like they don't rely on like, oh, we need like Indiana, like, oh, we need some shot plays and we need some turnovers and some deep passes to make everything happen. Like Texas A&M could not they could run the ball or they could throw the ball 15 times a game and still win.
I do want to say also LSU's running problem. They had 6 more yards than Texas A&M had in interception yards.
What a padlock stat there.
Jesus Christ.
A&M had 29 interception yards, and LSU had 35 rushing yards.
I mean, that's a tough night for Nussmeier, dude, but they kind of set him up to fail. I mean,
Dude, he threw the ball.
I mean, Brian Kelly
threw the
came
ball
out
50
and
times.
Yeah, Brian Kelly comes out in the press conference is like, dude, we need to find a way to like help him because all we're doing is hurting him. Like,
that's not a formula for winning, man. And I know I was kind of high on LSU for a minute, but
I mean, their defense, like I know Texas A&M scored 38, but like that first half, their defense was playing really tough too.
Yeah, they were. It was a tale of 2 halves. I mean, Texas A&M destroyed them in the second half.
Yeah. Texas A&M's a good football team, especially at Kyle Field.
Good teams are good second or win in the second half.
Yeah, I
mean that's how it rolls. And man, what a job Elko's doing. You know what I mean? Like that's a tough place to coach, man.
I think it's a tough place to get going at, right?
Yeah.
But if you can get it going, dude, you might be able to have a 15-year tenure there.
A&M's a program that hasn't really been a blue blood, but their fan base, their alumni, their donors,
their resources,
the oil barons
acts like a blue blood. I mean, dude, they're still paying out fucking like $90 million in contracts to coaches that aren't even there. Yeah. Like you don't make it, you don't last long.
The heist of the century, right there,
dude.
Elko.
No, the heist of the century was still Tucker.
If Elko gets A&M into the playoffs, he deserves to be coach of the year.
Yeah, I would. Well, if Vanderbilt can finish 9-3, I'd say Clark Lee deserves it, but that's my personal opinion.
Right. I mean, absolutely.
Well, if Indiana goes 12-0, Signetti deserves it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He will get it. Or I don't know BYU's head coach off the top of my head, but if that team goes 13-0, man, I mean, shit.
I'm just apprehensive with certain teams.
But like, yes, he should be up for that award. I totally agree with you.
I'm apprehensive with certain teams because I've seen this my whole life where there's a good story, and then later on we're looking at 9-3, 8-4 team. I don't think that's going to happen with Indiana. I think Indiana's probably 10-2 at worst. At worst, that's me giving them their props. Okay, so everybody calm the fuck down for a minute. But I've seen this story play out a million times.
You're that old? A million times?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
That's crazy. You look great for a million.
I'm fucking rocking it for a million, bro.
All right. And then the other Texas team, Texas 27-24 against Vanderbilt. I thought Texas was going to take care of business, dude, but them Commodores just fight for all 60 minutes.
Go into the natty, baby.
Yeah, well, that's probably not. Well, that's not.
That's not going to happen.
No,
Run the table, win the SEC.
Yeah, it's not. Once again, not happening. No, but like, I mean, I think Vanderbilt is like in terms of quality, top 25 this season.
Yeah.
Like in terms of team, like they play really hard. They had that loss to Georgia State, man, and that kind of like is the reason why they're not ranked, which I totally get. But they like in terms of SEC conference play, they've been pretty good, and they've been able to like be tough and give teams a lot of looks and a lot of pressure. And Texas, like they played good. They played a good first half. DeAndre Moore was a big X factor for this Texas team on offense, but they weren't really like anything special. And I think Texas, if they were, and I'll say it, I don't think Texas is a top five team at all. I think with just how they've been playing recently, like, dude, they kind of just good teams take care. Like Georgia would beat Vanderbilt by 20. All right, is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Like Georgia, I believe, is a top 5 football team and would take care of business against a team like Vanderbilt. And Texas doesn't. There's a reason why Alabama's not a top 5 team. Like, that's kind of just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Texas did a pretty good job shooting themselves in the foot too, though. I mean, turning the ball over and sloppy play in that game. I think Vanderbilt scored late to kind of make the score look closer-ish.
But they were fighting still. Like, I mean,
yeah, they were fighting. I'm not going to take.
I mean, Vanderbilt gets if Vanderbilt gets an onside kick and a field goal, dude, it's going to overtime. Like,
that's a lot. But
Texas played a B- game.
Yeah, Vandy's just a pesky team. Vandy is. You see one of these teams every year. Like, there's some team that just kind of gets a little hot and just gives everyone problems.
Yeah,
I think it's Vandy's this year.
They're just a good football. Like, they're a good, not great football team. That's what Vandy is.
I just feel like a couple of those turnovers from Texas was the difference between a 31-13 and a 24-20 game or whatever.
I mean, we could say Auburn's like a top 25 team if they didn't turn the ball over, but guess what? They do. It's just
what's that kid's name for Auburn? Hunter, the running back.
Yeah, Jarquez Hunter. Yeah, that kid.
Yeah,
he's
legit. He's legit.
He was a good running back last year too. I mean,
Auburn,
Auburn's not any good, so there's not like
they have two QBs that like to turn the ball over.
Yeah.
Well, and you got to keep in mind Texas is without their best running back too.
That's true.
All right.
I mean, everybody's banged up right now.
Yeah. Let's get into the 4th and goal, and I'll just read it off really quickly. Oregon at 1, Georgia at 2, Penn State at 3, Ohio State at 4, Miami at 5, Texas at 6, 7 Indiana, 8 Texas A&M, 9 BYU, 10 Tennessee, 11 Notre Dame, and 12 Clemson. But don't you think all our opinions were just a big consensus? Because, oh boy, there was some difference in opinion. You guys have yours pulled up, your own personal polls?
Give me a second. I can
not in front of me, but I'll just talk about my top 4 because that's all that really matters right now.
Okay.
Or maybe top 5. But yeah, I took Georgia. I talked about this in a couple shows ago. I still feel like Georgia's the best team in the country, and has the potential of beating anybody on a neutral field. That includes Oregon. Top to bottom, talent-wise, you look across the board, they match up with Oregon. I had Oregon at number 2. I feel like Oregon's really good. I think I had Ohio State at 3.
Yep.
I mean, despite a bad game against Nebraska, I mean, look at every national championship for the last however many years. Everybody has a tight game that shouldn't have been tight.
Like Maryland with Michigan last year.
Yeah, Maryland with Michigan last year, so on. I mean, I'm not going to hold a gun to their head on that. You know what I mean?
I mean, shit, the year that Georgia won the national championship, they were in, a 3-point game with Kent State?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's bound to happen. I mean, for Ohio State, for me, it's national championship or get off the pot for Ryan Day. Because I already don't think they're going to. I mean, at what point do you got to win a big game? And when you have,
I'm just saying, I get
that you bought for your roster. You have a coach that's making all this damn money. I mean, at what point does he have to win a big game?
Dude, if he goes to the national championship, he's not going to get fired. You don't fire the coach that just took your team to the national championship. If they lose in
he has to go to the national championship.
Okay, I thought you said to win. Okay, all right, fair.
They have to get there. They have.
But even if they make the semifinal and they don't win the Big Ten,
and maybe not even fired, but it's getting. I know a lot of Ohio State people, dude, and they're not happy with Ryan Day.
Well, a lot of Ohio State people
imagine being that entitled.
I mean, yeah, I get it. I didn't say I agree with him. I mean, shit, I think the guy's done great there, but
I think he's a good he's a good football. He's what, a top 5? He's a top 5 head coach in college
his
football.
His record versus top 10 teams, dude. Andrew, you can pull it up. You're a stats guy, bro. It ain't good.
No, I know.
It's not good.
I mean,
it's been awful. He's got a losing record against Michigan.
Ryan Day versus top 5 opponents. He's 2-6.
Yeah. It's been rough, man. I mean, guy's a good coach. I mean, you don't just fucking get the head coaching job at Ohio State by mistake.
No.
Right. He's a good OC. I think he just struggles with the whole team aspect.
No, yeah, I get it. But yeah, he kind of has to at least get there. I mean, be in that Final Four discussion.
I will say my top 4 looks pretty similar to yours, JP, except I just got Oregon and Georgia flipped. I Like
No,
I think either. I think it's one.
Justin has Miami at 4.
Oh well. Okay.
Yeah.
Then we have a little difference.
I kind of have to. I can't have the Canes outside of the top 4 right now. I mean, they could run into a buzzsaw against Clemson in the ACC championship, but
yeah, Miami's got like the easiest road to 12.
yeah, because I can't. They're gonna, if they go undefeated and they got one of the top 3 players in the country. I mean, we've seen it done with Washington last year. The way
And
the Penix played
offensively, Miami's pretty damn good. Like they can
Yeah,
they run the ball, they throw the ball very well.
Damian Martinez,
yeah,
finally turned it up, man.
Yeah,
me, this honestly, I almost put Miami at 3.
I
was really close.
I thought about it. I gave Penn State the nod at 2. I think I was a little bit more impressed with them going to their backup QB and actually looking better. Like I think Penn State's been a little like, I know they had the close game against Bowling Green, but other than that, dude, I think Penn State's been able to take care of business this year.
Yeah. I mean, I almost put OSU. My almost top 4 was almost Oregon, Georgia, Penn State, Miami, or Miami, Penn State.
I put Ohio. My problem with Ohio State, this is definitely overreactionary because after I look back at it, I'm like, man, I don't know. But you can't win without an offensive line and run game in college football. And Ohio State's got to prove it to me because against Oregon, I mean, they were able to get picked apart too. They lacked it in the secondary and getting pass rush. Like against good teams, I don't know what they're going to be able to do. But we will see Ohio State and Penn State play each other. So
this is going to be a big weekend for both those teams.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Also, Tennessee does not deserve to be ranked. I'm sorry. Not in the top 12.
No, they're still there for me, bro.
Yeah, they're fringe. All those last 4 schools for me, they're all interchangeable.
All
I could put Tennessee at 4. I could put Tennessee at 8.
All Tennessee has to do is get the passing
They lost
game
to fucking Arkansas.
Okay, but it's a one-off, bro. Have they lost anybody else?
No, but they haven't been able. Like, they're very dependent on their defense, and their offense sucks.
And Sampson's a good running back.
I mean, Sampson, yeah, but you can't just have one running back.
But my thing was with them is if they can turn that passing game on, and they got guys, they got Squirrel White, they got your guy from Brew McCoy from the guy that transferred in. They got receivers. I mean, I don't understand what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, I agree. I think Tennessee should be better, but they are playing way below my expectations. Have they reached 30 points in SEC play?
I don't think
that right now.
I don't think they have, but I'm just letting you know that if that offense starts to click on a passing level, that Tennessee is going to be a fucking problem.
Yeah, and that will obviously be subject to change. But as of recent, I don't think Tennessee's been very good.
Look at this 4th and goal poll from week to week, bro. Everything's been subject to change.
I'm just saying.
Tennessee has not scored more than 30 points since Kent State when they dropped 71.
Yeah.
This is up and down every fucking week, man. We don't know who's who anymore. Yeah. It's the parity across college football now.
Yeah, but I will say I don't think Tennessee's been a top 12 team in the country.
I disagree.
You can't not put them in the top 12 when they've only dropped 1 game.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's hard to do that.
Yeah, I mean, you could say that Clemson's not a top 12 team the way they got demolished by Georgia.
The only team that gets disrespected like that is Army.
And Iowa State.
Yeah, well, I mean,
how does Army drop ranks for having a bye week?
The Army
shit pisses me off so bad.
Army plays Notre Dame, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's going to be the week for Army. If they beat Notre Dame, they're a top 12 team. They're in.
They've been a top 12 team for me. I just couldn't put them in this week.
But my thing with Tennessee is, and Clemson, and to compare it, Clemson's gotten better over the season. Tennessee's gotten worse.
I mean, Tennessee's also played better teams.
Yeah, I'll give you that. But
they've had a tougher schedule than Clemson.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the difference between playing in the ACC and playing in the
SEC.
The SEC, yeah. But I mean, Florida. I know Florida's solid, but I don't think they're great. Oklahoma, I mean that win's overrated. And then Alabama's a solid team. I will give them that Alabama win.
Yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and say Alabama's shit.
No, Alabama's solid, especially after that win over Missouri.
I want to see how Tennessee's offense does this week against Kentucky, who I think is a legitimate defense.
Yeah, and I don't know how much Kentucky will put pressure on offense, but
their defense is good.
It's just ever since Tennessee started conference play, it's been a way different team than what they were in out of conference. And I know their schedule wasn't particularly amazing out of conference, but like, dude, everything looked great.
Right.
So,
I mean, there's a lot of flaws in the top 12. Notre Dame lost to NIU, a 30-point favorite.
Yeah.
I mean, there's flaws.
Yeah. Notre Dame kicked the shit out of Navy.
There's no spreads yet for Army Notre Dame.
Okay.
Also, that's week 13. There's a couple weeks till then.
Yeah.
Any other games that we just want to quickly note before we move to the NFL? We spent a lot of time on college football.
Damn it.
No, I just want to vent my upsetness how the Black Knights dropped in the AP poll for having a bye week. I think it's bullshit.
Iowa scored 40 points. Wanted to point that out. Minnesota. Yeah, we have a new segment coming up at the 1 hour mark. Our 4th and goal players of the week. Justin, you came up with the idea. I think you should have the first say in who your player of the week is.
Yeah, so I wanted to come up with something new, kind of spice it up a little bit. I wanted to talk about an individual player for a team that we felt like was our player of the week. And I wanted to start it out with Brosmer from Minnesota. His game against Maryland. I know Maryland kind of a little shaky, but I thought the kid played really well. 26 of 33, 320, 4 touchdowns. Played really well off that play action with Darius Taylor back there, who's underrated running back, in my opinion, in the country from Minnesota. I watched a lot of his throws. He looked poised. He's a transfer from FCS New Hampshire.
Yeah, and I evaluating his tape, like Max Bromser at New Hampshire, like he wasn't I'm going to chuck it 60 yards, but dude, he might be one of the best red zone quarterbacks in the country because he's just got mechanically, he just throws the ball so well and maneuvers really well.
Really reminds me of an old school pocket pro style quarterback.
Yeah.
And he's not going to take off. He's not going to run the ball. You're not going to do RPO with Brosmer. But, man, he looked really good against Maryland. And, I mean, they smoked Maryland. So he's my player of the week, man. He was hitting tight ends, receivers. Like I said, he was working that play action. So, yeah, first player of the week. I wish we would have done this sooner because the season's flying by. But Max Brosmer.
Andrew, who's your guy?
Mine's a little basic, but it's honestly, I think he had the best game, maybe his best game of the season if he maybe had to pick. But Travis Hunter, 9 for 153, 4 passes defended, 2 tackles. I mean, the dude's just incredible. It's hard not to.
Stole my guy, Andrew. Golly. It's okay.
Easy.
I have a backup. We mentioned him earlier. Jarquez Hunter, 273 yards on the ground. He had a couple of touchdowns. Like, for Auburn to be able to have a running back, even with how easy it is to be able to defend the pass against them, dude, like the kid, he played really well and he deserves his flowers. I mean, against a good Kentucky defense too. Yeah. 278 yards and 2 touchdowns on 23 carries. I mean, over 10 yards per attempt rushing the ball. I was going to also say Taylon Green for Arkansas because they whooped Mississippi State, but the running game also played really well for Arkansas. But,
I have been saying Auburn does have a good offense. They just have a turnover problem.
Yeah.
They do average almost more yards per play than any other school in the country.
I think Hugh Freeze can get that right.
One more thing I will say is how the fuck is Missouri ranked in the AP top 25?
Dude, they suck.
I've said this all season. They are not that good.
No, I was impressed with them through like week 4, and then after that, it's been downhill for me.
No, I haven't been impressed since the start of the season.
I needed to be impressed with them so then I could fear Boston College a little more. But that was my only
a little psychological thing right there.
Yeah, I needed to. It's something that we needed to be impressed, so then I could.
And this is what I wanted to point out. Obviously, this is not the college football playoff poll, but is this the voters in the media what they did with Tennessee last year? Because Tennessee wasn't good last year, but they kept ranking them. And
actually, she biased.
Is it? Well, I'm just saying, are they trying to boost the resumes of teams? Like it's a legitimate question we have to ask.
It's
ask.
SEC bias.
Yeah.
They could be the case. You never know.
All right. And shout out to Colorado being ranked in the AP top 25. If they continue to play well, dude, they might hit that 4th and goal pole, man.
No.
Yeah. Well, they got some,
What do you mean? No.
They got some work to do.
If they go if they're, I'll say this: if they're 9-2, they're gonna be in my top 12.
No, because I'm like an AP voter. I have agendas to push, and Colorado's agenda is not
Also,
a part of mine.
I know Pitt hasn't really played too many teams, but dude, they continue to win games, man. I guess we will see against SMU and Clemson, but dude, if they beat SMU, they deserve to be somewhere in the top 15 at least.
Right.
Although SMU had kind of a stinker versus Duke. They had 6 turnovers and still won. So that's what happened. All right. We spent a lot of time on college football. But you know what? If you're still here, it means you like it, or you're here for us to talk about the NFL. Let's start off with the Lions 52-14 victory. Jared Goff MVP. I think it's a legitimate question we do have to ask. He's played really efficient as of late, and this Lions team's just rolling.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's legitimate, man. He's efficient. I've seen that they've had 25 touchdowns in the last 5 games and only 20 incompletions total in those games.
Yeah.
This offense is firing on all cylinders. You're seeing stuff like offensive linemen catching passes, David Montgomery throwing touchdowns. Outside of Lamar Jackson, who kind of had a stinker this past week, which I thought kind of put Jared Goff in the front running. I do think he's the MVP at this point. If they continue to play at the level that they're playing at right now, it's kind of hard for me to say that they're not the best team in the NFL right now.
I 100% agree. I also brought a prop for this segment. That was belt to ass whooping by Tennessee.
Yeah.
Belt to fucking ass, just like against fucking the Cowboys.
It's like, where did he go? And then,
I was grabbing my belt.
I mean, despite that ass whooping, I was kind of a little concerned with all the yards that Calvin Ridley was able to get because
the secondary. Well,
they kind of made
it's
him
not even
look like
Lions secondary really isn't that good, if we're being quite honest with each other.
Better than last year,
but like it's still
not that good.
No.
Also, to be fair, this was Mason Rudolph's first start of the season. They were probably they didn't know what the fuck to prep for. If they were going to run a lot, they probably, because it's only the first quarter Ridley did shit. So it probably was, we're going to stop the run. And Rudolph went, oh, there's a guy open 10 yards down the field.
Yeah, he had like 9 catches.
But this is a legitimate question. How much better is Will Levis than Mason Rudolph?
Probably not.
No, but they probably weren't expecting them to throw it as much as they did.
Did Rudolph and Levis like the same quarterback? Like I saw no difference.
No, but who thought the Titans were going to come out and try and throw the ball more than they tried to run the ball tonight?
Yeah,
no, last week.
But I'm just saying,
Tennessee is going to be a landing spot for Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah. Hey, he's used to playing with.
Also, you know how pissed I am that I've had Ridley sitting on my bench?
Me too.
When I started Amon-Ra over Ridley.
Guy was tanking in my fantasy or in my dynasty league this year, so I ended up picking up a really easy fantasy win. So just saying. I also picked up Jameis Winston just in case because I didn't know if Daniels was going to play or not. He played pretty well, but so did Daniels. So
comeback player of the year?
Actually, he will continue to play, so maybe they'll probably give it to Cousins though.
I don't think he's up for it because they came out and said they're not going to give it to anyone that's like Darnold, that's been a backup.
It's kind of stupid though.
It is, but that's what the committee said. No, it's like the Darnold clause or some shit like that. You can't be a perennial backup and then start.
Whatever.
It's kind of stupid.
All right. The 49ers beat the Cowgirls. It's not a matter of if, but when for Mike McCarthy because they were up in this game. They should have handled business, and they didn't.
Yet another Cowboys meltdown.
Yeah, they came down the stretch there in the fourth quarter. Dak led a couple drives and got him right back into the game, and I was kind of looking at it like, man, are the Cowboys going to pull this off? Because in contrary, like the 49ers would have been in big trouble if they lost this game. And, Cowboys did Cowboy things, man. They came out and laid a stinker there on that last drive for the comeback. And,
Also,
yeah, you hate to see it, man. You hate to see it.
Shout out Isaac Garendo, Louisville represent.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew that, dude. I almost texted you during the game an eggplant emoji, Garendo, because I knew that was coming.
This was a much needed win for the Niners. I still don't think they win the West. They're so unhealthy, and I think they're just going to lose too many games before they get healthy again. And the Rams are now healthy again, and the Rams are a half game out.
Yeah, I mean, that West is tight, though, man, with Seattle. And
it's tight with a bunch of mid.
Yeah, I mean, the NFL kind of as a whole right now is really a bunch of mid.
Other than like the Lions and
the NFC North is the only good.
NFC
good
North
division.
legit.
The NFC North has a quarter of the good teams in the league right now.
Like the Chiefs are undefeated. Their defense is great, and Mahomes has played bad this year. Like,
do you know Mahomes is not in the top 10 for any significant passing category this year?
Yeah, I've watched a lot of his games. He's been bad, dude.
The only significant passing category Mahomes is in the top 10 for is interceptions.
Yeah, I mean, I know that you're kind of limited on options and whatnot, but he hasn't looked very good, man. I'll tell you that. But he's still second best odds to win the MVP, which is
bullshit.
Crazy to me.
It's bullshit.
Right, it's a lot of this.
Yeah.
They have an agenda to push.
Yeah.
They took a page out of my book and they're pushing some bullshit.
But Dallas, though, yeah, like they go out and they lose the next, like Jerry Jones in that press box, they kept panning to him. He looked pissed. And they go out and they lose. There's a lot of frustrations in Dallas. Like, you've seen Trayvon Diggs getting testy with the media after the game. Like, it's not good in Dallas. Like, they kind of need to blow that whole thing up and restart. But it's the Cowboys.
Sell the team.
And they'll never be in a rebuild because they're the Cowboys. They'll go out and spend money on stupid shit. And they'll just keep being mediocre.
They're like just like the trust fund baby. Like, they have a lot of shit. They have a lot of flashy shit. They use their daddy's money to buy Lamborghinis, but they end up never being too much in life.
Nepo babies.
Yeah.
They're the Yankees of the NFL.
How was that? They're playing tonight, right? The Yankees.
They won.
Oh, they did win? Okay.
Oh, finally?
Yeah, they got to win.
Harper is now the first player ever to record a home run in the first 4 World Series games, though.
Harper or Freeman? Freddie Freeman.
Freeman, you're right. I don't know why I said Harper.
Like you said, you're with names. So.
Yeah,
also, my entire childhood, Freeman and Harper were interchangeable in my brain for some reason.
Well, they're both lefties.
Yeah.
So I can see that. But yeah, I
don't know why.
Freeman's been on a roll. Volpe had a grand slam tonight, and they were able to get one, but they're not going to – I don't see the Yankees coming back. Aaron Judge disappeared.
What's he, 1-12 with a hit and 9 strikeouts?
Yeah, he's on a milk carton in New York right now. Like, they don't know where he is.
They said it on 97.1. His bat average is like .079 or something right now.
That's terrible.
In the World Series.
It's like me getting back at MLB The Show after a couple of years and going straight to Hall of Fame and road to the show. Just not being able to hit shit.
Giancarlo Stanton's pretty much carried them through most of the playoffs, and I mean, he's like a 15-year veteran. So
right, yeah.
What a resurrection of a career, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He played on Miami. God damn.
Yeah, he was in Miami.
Yeah, it was the Stantonian home runs.
Yeah,
he was a silver slugger.
I've been so in and is that a train behind you?
Dude,
his windows are open.
I'm a train rolling through this town, bro.
His windows are open,
dude.
Let's talk about this Commanders Bears game.
Nice little effect.
Yeah. Commanders end up winning on a Hail Mary. That was a crazy play to happen. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I thought Caleb Williams, he played terrible for the first 3 quarters. And then, you know what? He led 2 drives to try and win this game at the end, man. And I mean, it's just the Commanders ended up winning on one lucky play. And that's pretty much it.
I think that wasn't as much luck. It was more the universe balancing itself for gloating and then instantly being the one to cause the interception or the touchdown.
No, yeah, I really like the DNA of this Commanders team. I think Jaden Daniels is already a star. He's only going to get better in the league.
If he can stay healthy.
They signed a veteran, Bobby Wagner, in the middle. Sainer still's been playing great on defense.
Of course, he
Dan-
Sainer. No, he has been playing.
I would too. I loved Mikey at Michigan. He was my favorite
Quinn's
Wolverine.
Kind of got that juice, man. He reminds me of Dan Campbell a little bit. This is the second year of new ownership in Washington. And shouts out to Tyreek Stevenson, dumbass. If I was a Bears fan, I would be fucking furious. You're over here, dude, the play's going on. He's over here waving, and he's
the Eli Apple mentality.
He comes back into the play, and good riddance. The guy that he was supposed to be on was the one that caught the ball.
Dude, and it's his hand
jackass.
that tipped it backwards.
Right.
Yeah. Complete jackass play. He deserved it. And
do you see Caleb Williams directly following the meltdown?
I did. I saw that. Yep.
Which I get it. You weren't on the field, but also fucking
Caleb Williams, cornerback 1 for the Bears next Sunday.
Be a man about it, dude. Just take your lumps. Go shake hands with. You had a good game.
And Caleb Williams has been playing better. He had a rough start.
But dude, he got him in position to win. One deflected ball, they won this game.
I think that Jaden Daniels has a higher ceiling than Williams.
So far, yes.
Yeah.
We'll bring it back up at the end of the season, though.
Well, I mean, it's their rookie year, right? I mean, there's a lot of time before, or I mean, unless one of them gets benched, which seems to be happening with a lot of young quarterbacks recently.
Yeah.
No, like I would say Daniels has obviously objectively been better, but in terms of ceiling, I don't know. That's kind of tough to project too, to be completely honest.
I think Williams just has to beat the hero ball out of himself.
Yeah. Noah, your boy Bo Nix. What about him? I know it was against Carolina, but damn, dude, he went off.
I mean, most quarterbacks should go off. Andy Dalton went off against Carolina. Okay, I'm not taking it too seriously. And then the last game, dude, the Jets are 0-3 since firing Robert Saleh, and they lost to a Patriots team that hasn't won since week 1. They just stink.
Yeah, I mean, they go out and they get Devontae Adams, and that's supposed to fix all their problems, right? And then they end the contract negotiations with Hassan Reddick. They bring him in. That's supposed to fix your problems, right? It is a absolute dumpster fire in East Rutherford.
For both teams.
Dude, the Giants should have.
They have way too much talent. The Jets have way too much talent to be this bad. Like at this point, it's inexcusable, dude. Like you have Quinnen Williams, you got
Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams.
Yeah, I mean Devontae Adams, Hall. Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall. I mean, dude, we can just keep going.
Sauce Gardner, yeah.
Gardner. It's just
Braylon Allen.
Braylon Allen, who's been a good running back. I mean, it seems like Aaron Rodgers to me, from an outside perspective, is a tough guy to play with.
He's a cancer.
I mean, he seems like he needs total control. He kind of seems like an asshole, a prick.
We knew that though. He was that in Green Bay.
Yeah, I mean,
what
a
lot
of the Bucs players said when they're having fun playing football again after Brady left. You know what I mean? Maybe Aaron Rodgers is a little too demanding, or I don't know, man. But it's crazy.
Here's something I'll say. I don't think we gave Matt LaFleur. I mean, obviously, we still think he's a great head coach, but for him to be, you need a head coach in one of a kind, not one of a kind, but like one of the top 5 head coaches to have a guy like Aaron Rodgers to, you because Rodgers obviously has a lot of influence on what your team does. You need to have a head coach to be able to pull him back and be like, hey, like
This is my team.
yeah, this is my team. And they don't have that right now, especially having an interim head coach with Earlbridge. Like,
yeah. And now Salah's on the Packers.
There's a reason why, for as long and as talented as Aaron Rodgers is, and as long as he's been in the NFL, that he only has one Super Bowl. I mean, you would have thought he would have won numerous Super Bowls, but I don't know, man. Maybe just put frankly, maybe the guy's just a douchebag that nobody wants to really play.
Aaron Rodgers is a super douche.
Super douche.
All right, we're putting that. Sirianni.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Anyone else, Justin?
We'll have to tune in until
Mel Tucker.
No, have to tune in next time. No, Mel Tucker isn't even on douche level. He's a clown.
He's sick.
He's just a dumbass.
Yeah, he's a dumb fuck.
Hey, that was a $70 million nut. I hope it was worth it.
Yeah.
Right.
One more thing I did want to bring up. Anthony Richardson getting benched for Flacco. What do you guys think about this?
He needs to.
Probably the good move, honestly, because that offense has been a lot more efficient under Flacco, and that Flacco magic, dude, I'm telling you, bro, he made that playoff run, that push, and got the Browns into the playoffs last year. I wouldn't be surprised if he does it again with the Colts, because, I mean, dude, you got Pittman, Downs, Jonathan Taylor, like.
I'm glad you mentioned Josh Downs, dude.
This team's built. Indy's built to win now, and AR is not. He's not. He wasn't ready when he was at Florida.
Yeah, I mean, people act like he was just gonna come in and be like this guy and whatever, dude.
He's never impressed me.
There's tools there, and like there's flashes and spurts, but like he needed to have the Jordan Love process. He wasn't ready to play right away. I don't like, and that's just the Colts. They moved on from signing all these bad quarterback, well, not bad, but like washed up quarterbacks like Carson Wentz and Phillip Rivers and all these guys the last couple of years. And then they throw AR into the mix right away. First of all, he gets hurt, and who knows if he's 100% healthy either, right? And then, I mean, this season, like he started out hot in that first game, got hurt, and then Flacco played well. Anthony Richardson came back. He was kind of mellow. Like, I think he just needs time to develop and get comfortable. He's not a guy that was ready to play right away coming out of college, and that's all he's ever done since he's been in the league when he's been healthy.
I think.
I agree.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. You got something to say?
Oh, I was gonna make a connection to. I know Noah and we defend Aiden Giles for being young and having the tools, but not being ready. AR's in the same spot, but this is the NFL. You don't get time like you get in college.
Yeah.
He's a 25-year-old man. We expect you to be ready to play and earn your money. Giles is 19.
Yeah.
Those two arguments don't really work across leagues.
Giles getting about 600 to 800K between whatever.
No, he's a 7 figures NIL player.
Is he?
Yes. You know how many teams are trying to get him out of the portal? He's making over $1 million.
I think he may have been a 7-figure player.
He's just, you know what though, if he reaches his full potential, he is a like.
He will be. He is not yet.
Yeah.
No, I don't think. He's got time. I mean, everybody jumps to conclude. Look at what Sam Darnold's done in Minnesota. I mean,
it's just
can't just rule guys out. There's a chance,
right? And I mean, like, I don't think it's a bad move to be honest. Like Drake May being benched, I know he's came in for the Patriots a couple of weeks and he's looked solid with them, but like, dude, you don't need to start your freaking rookie quarterback or even a second-year guy like all 17 games, especially if you're not going to be competitive. Even if you are competitive without him, then don't play him and let him develop.
It's just the mentality of the NFL now.
Like you don't see, I know it's a little bit different, but you don't see a lot of freshmen start in college because if they did, it's just so much mistakes. I mean, we're seeing it with Dylan Raiola right now. There's not really been a quarterback that has came in other than Jaden Daniels, that has came in and been like super like in both leagues.
Stroud.
Yeah, Stroud was good. Yeah,
Stafford came in as a rookie and played well too.
Well, like what I'm saying,
good last year.
But no, you're not gonna win. You're not gonna win anything big with a quarterback that's not developed in both leagues.
No,
Tom Brady.
What do you mean, Tom Brady?
Didn't he win a Super Bowl his rookie year?
No.
No.
Was that not his rookie year?
No.
I think it was like his third.
Oh.
Like, I'm saying it takes time, and there's no reason to rush the process. Too many teams rush the process in trying to develop these quarterbacks, especially in the NFL. They throw them out there, and they kind of ruin their career. I mean, look at Bryce Young, dude. He's been fucked since he's got.
Dude, it's because these coaches get fired if they don't produce.
Dude, he's toast.
So they throw guys to the fire.
And it's not necessarily a problem with the coach. It's the problem with the management of these NFL teams.
I feel so bad for Bryce Young, dude. Like, he is toast.
I feel bad for him. I feel bad for Mac Jones.
Yeah.
He was never really given a real opportunity to do anything in New England. Who else?
Desmond Ridder.
Yeah, I
kind of feel bad for Justin Fields too.
Yeah, I mean, Justin Fields, dude, he was just thrown out there to die in Chicago.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, Dwayne Haskins.
Well,
yeah.
Rest in peace, but
rest
also,
in peace, yeah. Like, I'm just saying, like, there's so many quarterbacks that just get thrown into the mix, and then you expect them to be great or bad. Like,
Trevor Lawrence.
Dude, Trevor Lawrence has actually been playing like solid recently.
I know, but his freshman and rookie years and his freshman and sophomore years in the NFL were not great.
Yeah, but
no, freshman year in college, he
won in the NFL. I'm just saying rookie and sophomore year in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, he got himself a second contract. He's played.
Oh yeah, he's turned it
He's
around.
Played well. I mean, he's played well. I don't think I know Trevor Lawrence is supposed to be this generational quarterback, but he's been good. Like, I think he's been above average.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's turned it around the last several years, but his first couple were like, wow, this guy is supposed to be generational. You suck.
The Jaguars were also awful.
That's also true. We get these good, great, talented quarterbacks that go to these ass teams, and we expect them to just turn them around.
Which is why maybe they don't need to play right away.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, those days are over, fellas. Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre for
years.
I'm just saying, like, if no one wants to, everyone just wants something quick. They don't want to buy into a process, and you need a process in order to be a good. Like, if you want your team to actually be good over a period of time, you need to buy into a process and develop these guys. Why do you think all these dynasties happen across all sports? Because it's all process.
The problem is
my lucky stars for Jared Goff, so Hendon Hooker can be really good in a couple of years.
The problem is that franchise quarterbacks are hard to come by.
Yeah.
Teams that are drafting at the top obviously have a need for quarterback, and they're looking for somebody that can spark the franchise and turn it around. And more times than not, it's an unfair situation.
Yeah.
I think if I was an NFL GM, my top 5 picks are going to the defense or O-line every time.
Look at Baker Mayfield.
Best QB.
Look at Baker Mayfield, dude. He had a couple bad situations. He's in Tampa. I can make an argument that Baker Mayfield is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL.
I would not disagree with you.
You don't even have to make the argument. It's just true.
It's just true.
It's about the situation, man. And I hope a guy like Bryce Young ends up in a better situation.
Yeah, I think someone's going to see him and be like, hey, I think we could do something with him. You know, have him sit on the bench for a year or two. Because, I mean, his value is probably a 3rd-round pick right now?
Yeah.
Send him to the Giants and let him sit behind Danny.
No, don't send him to the Giants.
I mean, look at Trey Lance, dude. He's never been happier to be the backup quarterback.
Well, I mean, Trey Lance is a little different.
I got Bryce's landing spot for you.
Who?
Seattle or LA?
There you go.
Yeah, I think LA.
They're both 2 QBs that I got a couple years under the contract still.
But see, I think Seattle's going to rip it with Sam Howell after Gino's gone.
Okay, then LA.
You can get Bryce Young for probably next to nothing because Carolina's going to have to eat up a lot of that rookie deal.
Yeah.
And they're probably going to draft another quarterback.
Yeah, they're definitely going to.
Somebody's
going to get screwed.
Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward.
No, they'll probably draft. Something tells me that Carson Beck during draft season is just going to rise up.
They should take an offensive tackle.
Yeah.
Yeah, they need one.
Or an edge rusher.
Their first 2 picks should both be 1st-round offensive linemen.
Dude, they need everything, bro. It's bad.
Yeah, that is a team that could move locations, and I would completely understand.
Right. All right, boys.
Holy
Yeah.
shit. An hour and 30 minutes. Well, if we want to thank you guys for staying tuned throughout this whole time, if you made it to this point, or if you just, you watched for like 30 minutes and you're like, man, you guys talk for too long. I'll come back and listen to it another later in the day or something. Either way, we want to thank you for your support. Justin's got like 4 hours and 30 minutes of content to
I know. Fuck.
He's
But,
earning his non-existent paycheck this week, guys.
Yeah, I'll probably be on that sometime tomorrow night.
Yeah.
So look for that Thursday.
Yep.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. You guys can watch my depression ensue from the first quarter.
Dude,
to the
that
fourth
live.
quarter.
I want to say once again, if you guys watched that live show, which we had some people tuning in. It was a lot of fun. That is something that we need to do more. Like, I think if we want to do like a college football playoff watch party, or I don't know about the game, but maybe like one of the conference championship games, like stuff like that, like we should for sure do.
Yeah, and
Agreed.
we'll figure out ways to add twists and make it fun.
Oh, we can add games and shit. Yeah,
Yeah.
drinking games.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe not. Well, yeah, but no.
We got to try.
Also, like, I mean, just like we could do, like, there's some stuff we could do.
Bingo.
Yeah.
College football bingo.
We would have missed Cal Halliday not wearing gloves.
Yeah.
That would have been on my bingo board.
All right, so boys, getting late for me.
Yep.
I got to work in 5 hours.
I got a game to call tomorrow. So,
Peace.
all right. See ya, everybody.
See ya.